You suck at fueling, and I did too, and that's okay. These are the top 3 tips that I have for fueling better on the bike. Number 1, find the carbs that work for you. Number 2, make sure you figure out how many carbs you should be having. Make sure it matches your intensity. Number 3, don't forget about sodium. Sodium equals no cramps, and no cramps is good. Tip number 1, find the carbs that work for you. First, you gotta figure out what your stomach can actually handle. There's 3 main types of carbs. There's solids, liquids, and then there's gels. Liquids are gonna be things like carbs mixes. Anything you can put in your water bottle, mix it with water, and you're good to go. Great because they digest quickly. Then there's gels, which are basically pre-broken down carbs. They take a little bit longer, but pretty good for quick energy. Then there's solids. Now we're talking bars and chews. These are more like foods, but they take a little bit longer to digest. Then there's the types of carbs themselves. So we have glucose, maltodextrin, and clusterdextrin. Glucose, pretty fast, but issues, you'll have it spike. So go up, have quick energy, you feel great, and then you crash back down. Then you have maltodextrin, which is a little bit smoother and a little bit easier to process. Then there's clusterdextrin, which is technically the most gut-friendly for longer rides because it just empties the stomach pretty quickly. That being said, figure out which one is the best for you. So test them. Just because 90 grams works for your friend doesn't necessarily mean it'll work for you. Speaking from personal experience, I can't do clusterdextrins at all. Scratch, if I'm correct, uses super clusterdextrins and it affects me pretty bad. So figure out what works for you and experiment with different types of carbs. Tip number 2, eat way more carbs than you think. I am a huge proponent of forgetting to eat on the bike, which is why I am someone who heavily uses liquid carbs. That way, whenever I'm thirsty, it's pretty easy for me to just grab my bottle and I'm good to go, liquid calories. That being said, cyclists should be targeting anywhere between 60 to 90 grams per hour. Granted, take into account what type of effort you're doing and how long you're going for. So if you're doing longer rides or a very high intensity, aim for 100 to 120. But please train your gut. Start slow, build up to it, and you'll start to notice these things right here will eventually cause shorter fatigue. You'll recover better. So if you're ever someone who comes home from a ride and you just feel like you absolutely want to eat everything, you probably underfueled on the bike. You should be coming home from a ride either not necessarily refreshed, but full or content, not necessarily wanting to devour anything in sight. Number 2 is if you're doing a really intense effort, then your carbs should match that. You shouldn't be having 120 grams of carbs per hour if you're just going out doing a zone 2 coffee ride and chilling. So maybe something like this might look like 60 grams of carbs in a bottle mixed with 1 gel. That's 30 grams, so that'll give you 90 grams. So mix it up, give it an idea of what works for you, and just figure out different strategies. I'm a huge proponent of doing 60 to 90 in my water bottles. I feel like anything after 90, my water bottles start to taste very, I don't know, like thick, I guess, and it leaves this film on your teeth, and it just feels like as soon as I get home, I want to brush my teeth. Yeah. So it feels like a lot at first, but your power stays way higher. I feel like my heart rate stays stable, and I don't get that fade toward my end of the ride where I just feel like I can consistently hold the power, and if anything, what fades is like I actually start to feel fatigue in my legs versus just a lack of energy. Whenever you feel like you're having low energy, check to see how many carbs you're having per hour. Tip number 3, don't ignore your sodium. This one matters way more than people think. If you sweat a lot, you'll see the white salt stains on your shoulders, your back, or basically on your jersey. You might need anywhere between 500 to 600 milligrams of sodium per hour if you're a light sweater or a moderate sweater. If you start getting into heavy sweating, you might need anywhere up to 1,000, if not more. But this is all subject to be tested, right? Find out what works for you. What I like to do personally is I use Formula 369, and what's kind of nice about it, it has 30 grams of carbs per scoop with an additional 200 milligrams of sodium with that same scoop. So what's kind of nice is if I do 3 scoops, 90 grams of carbs, I also get 600 milligrams of sodium. So kind of nice. I don't have to worry about it, but don't overdo it. If you have too much sodium, you will saturate your gut and essentially will start to pull in all the water and you will gain water weight. And what's crazy about that is you won't start to digest your carbs. Yeah. Speaking from experience, not a good idea. So find what works for you. If you ever get a chance, I'm actually going to be testing the Gatorade like sweat strip spray here pretty soon here. So I'll see if that gives me any good information, but that's something I'm still working on. But yes, please don't forget about your sodium. A lot of people tend to forget. They think they're cramping. It's because 9 times out of 10, you probably don't have enough sodium. It doesn't necessarily mean you don't have enough sodium only. It could also be just under training. It could be the intensity's too high and your muscles aren't used to it. But most of the time, it does come down to sodium. So something to think about. So those are the big 3. Find the carb source that works for your stomach, fuel enough, like actually enough, and hit your sodium target so your legs actually work. Dial these in and I promise you, your rides will feel different. Your recoveries will feel different. The rest of your day will feel different. If you like these tips, hit the bell, subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thanks.